So we are going to try this one more time here. OBS just totally crashed. I had to reboot the entire computer. I can't tell what had happened, but on my end, everything was hooked up fine. So hopefully I have sound right now. None of the cords were anywhere I could even touch. It goes around an arm and over. So I did switch, plug everything, and it looks like it was OBS itself. When I restarted, everything looks just normal. I have no errors, messages, or anything on any spot on my end at this point. Normally when I look at this, I'm looking at YouTube's studio and not OBS because I've never had a problem with OBS, but apparently it was. I've never had it crash like that before, so maybe there's something in it. On my end, it still showed my sound bar going back and forth, so it just wasn't pushing out the sound, would be my guess. I don't think it's related to YouTube, so to speak. We'll start back over. I do apologize. I don't know how long. I know, obviously, somebody had to hear the Bob Lazar, so it would be after that. I can't see what my other feed at this point because it's processing, so I don't know where the conversation left off. I think we got up to manage payments in the hold at the bank. Somebody talking about the U.S. Postal Service was hacked by outside forces. I don't see that as a possibility, in all honesty. Just by their sheer abilities, it's covered by government contracts and stuff. I know you can get into, and they've done a brute force or a denial of service on like FBI and stuff, but that's not a hack, so to speak. What most people talk about. Most of those type of things are DOSs. Denial of service means that you built a botnet of like 4,000 computers. They may not even know they're part of this, mind you. You've installed software through them clicking stuff they shouldn't have clicked. And then you have every one of those accounts send queries to that site. And it basically overloads the site. And that's what a DOS is, a denial of service. It denies them the ability to get service because it jams up the system. Their system shuts down of overload and it has to they reboot it or whatever they do at that point, depending on the system. But anyway, I don't see as that's an issue with DOS, denial of service. That's what we've always called it. I don't know what DDoS is, but denials of service attack. That's not a hack, but that's usually what I hear. I can't say a specific time when something like that would be at risk. I don't see as that's an issue. You know, call me crazy, but I do read a lot of the PC. I have a degree in IT, in database design and system analysis and construction. That's what mine is basically. From I went to Owens for 2 years, and then I went to UT for my bachelor's and my master's. So I spent time on all those. I took 7 different computer coding languages and stuff. I took Java. Anyway, I don't want to get off topic again. I know I do that too much. Thought China was hacking over 100 businesses in the U.S. Now, a private business is one thing. The U.S. government, I would say, was something else, you know. Distributed denial of service attack. In college books here, it's a DOS, denial of service. That's the only thing I've ever seen it. Maybe they've changed the terminology since I was there. I guess that's possible, but I've always called it a DOS, denial of service attack. And you know, maybe there's another technical name to it, but yeah, I literally have a full-fledged, degree in IT, and I took database design and construction. I know SQL, if you know what that is, SQL, and that's basically a database where you write it from scratch through lines of script, basically, textual, and that's how everything's done, basically. You know, at least that's the construction of the database, and you have to know queries and all that kind of stuff, like script injections and things where people can sneak stuff into your, to search queries. They can't do it on eBay and stuff. Most of the big sites, you can't do it to. Back in the day when it was first around, you could, and we played around. I have a safety degree, too. I have a Net Plus, a Safety Plus, A Plus, and then my server. I know how to do servers, so we run a server in our house, and I've run servers for years and years. But anyway, yeah, maybe it is called dedicated denial service. It's been 10 years since I got my degree, so I don't know what they call it nowadays, but it always was DOS. Maybe they redefined it or something. It's something that anybody can do, though. Let's just put it that way. You can go on Tor or something and download from... I don't want to go into all that stuff. Let's get off that topic. It's lagging behind your voice on my end. If you're lagging, I would recommend reloading your page, because I'm looking at a non-attached screen on another laptop, and it looks like it's playing fine on that end there. I do apologize, obviously, for it. I see that the 4 thumbs down, that one person who keeps doing that followed us along. Fine, that's fine. Back manage payment-wise. Let's just go back into manage payments for the example here. Conversation is how long and stuff they're holding it. As I said, mine is 2 days. 3 to 4 days is what eBay quotes. Now, that's business day, so if your payment shows up on, or the notice shows up on Friday, it could be longer than that. I wouldn't think so, because the business day aspect doesn't really play so much into banks anymore like it used to. In the olden days, when they first started internet banking and stuff, I remember that you wouldn't get deposits on the weekend. I don't know if somebody had to flip a switch back 15, 20 years ago or whenever we started doing stuff like that, but you know, it wasn't like that. But nowadays, I see stuff going all the time. I don't see any difference on my bank. It just depends on the people processing at eBay. If they only process it, say, Monday through Friday, your bank can't electronically do something. It's all electronic. Nobody's even looking at it when it comes in, would be my guess. What is it, 5,000? Same day or next day for me so far? Again, see, so I've had mine like the next day as well, too, once. You know, it's not like we've been on it for a ton on this account. The other account, it's pretty much routine as well, and we set that one up to weekly and the whole works. I personally would recommend the week option. That's just my take on it. Don't mention Bob Lazar again. Hey, Midwest picker there. Honestly, I didn't know who that guy was when I talked to the guy. And then afterwards, we saw all that stuff on there resurrecting the information after those pilot videos showed up. I just watched something on another channel. It's an MIT guy talking to that pilot again. I saw a UFO once, and I have witnessed, and the same one that I saw like a year later was on a TV show with pictures of it, like video and the whole works. That we didn't take it. I don't know. I didn't even know anybody else would have seen it. And it was on like Unsolved Mysteries. It was in Northwest Florida, and somebody's got some pictures. And what we saw was the exact same thing in those videos. And I forgot all about it. I totally blew it. Didn't think anything of it. Me and my friend told some of our friends, and no big deal, and just went on with our business. And then the next year, he was watching that show and called me up and said, hey, you got to see this. And those videos that the U.S. Air Force pretty much is to the T what we saw. And it did the same, bouncing around like it was in a glass. It was really weird. It wasn't an airplane or nothing. I swear to you, that's what we saw. It was a real thing. It wasn't a fictitious dream or something. I saw what I saw, and it was close enough where there's no way it was an airplane. There was no sound, no nothing, and it was spin on a dime. It was really weird. It was probably one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. So when I saw those the Air Force videos, that just blew my mind, because we already saw a video from Unsolved Mysteries from the early 90s. Because this happened, I saw that in like 89 or 90 probably in Northwest Florida with a friend of mine. And, you know, we both, you know, didn't think much of it after it. I didn't totally forgot, as I said. So, and then I talked to Bob Lazar about something else. Didn't even know that's who he was and stuff. So it's a small world. You know, it was just surprising. I don't believe in a lot of stuff like that. You know, I do, you know, believe at this point that there obviously is life somewhere else. So call me crazy or not. But I saw something that wasn't something we could have done back in 1990. There was no way it was anything. And we used to live in Florida, so I've seen the shuttle go up I don't know how many times. We've seen them detonate rockets, and I've seen I don't know how many launches. My friend lived in Flagler Beach, and he had a deck on top of the house. They're all on stilt houses over there. He's literally on the beach, like 2 blocks in Surf Highway, A1A. And we saw him real close. You could see people in windows on the shuttle when they were taking off on some points, or not taking off when they're coming down at some of the places we've been. So it's I know what most stuff looks like that. But anyway, we'll get off topic again. I don't want to ramble on a topic here. They are listening. Sandra here, keep an eye on your invoices. Yes, I checked them all out. I've been still checking them out. Let's see, I probably even said, yeah, Bob Lazard. I set my managed payments up months ago to avoid the fourth quarter glitches, and they still haven't processed me yet. From what I understand, and from what I've seen from talking to people, is they're processing them in state. Managed payments has been here for a year, if you didn't know, for those who don't know. Last year, they started people on managed payments. You could accept it immediately. They were offering it to people if they wanted to jump into it. Once you jumped in, you were stuck, though, of course, and they didn't announce any of the items you couldn't sell unless you jumped into it, mind you. Semi-tricky on their behalf, but it's been around for a long time, and they know what's supposed to happen, and they know how it's going to happen, and they're doing it in stages. So one big group, another big group, and so on and so on and so on. Like Dom, I just asked him before the Tuesday show, because I swore I thought he said he applied for it. Maybe they just didn't get him into it either, Primetime Treasure Hunter, but he didn't have it, and I was really wanting to talk about that more so on Tuesday's show. And again, he's not in it, so I didn't want to leave him out of any conversation. So managed payments is in stages. I'm just glad that mine happened before fourth quarter for this account, but it hasn't been any big deal, honestly, considering, you know, some of the other issues they've caused. I haven't had any issues with managed payments. You know, I'm sure I'll get hate for saying that, but I honestly haven't had any issues with managed payments. You know, the only issue that I had was that I should have had it. I wish they would have done the week option to start with, and I wouldn't have had an issue having to worry about it. I always refund people's overpayage in shipping back. So let's say they paid for two items separately. I always combine them, and I always go back in. I deduct the 30-cent charge if there is one for the item under a managed payments one, and any fees I may lose, and then I give them all the rest back. I don't lose a dime on those. I literally sit there with the calculator when those come in. If it's an odd number, a shipment haven't done before. Most of them are like similar because it's 3 ounces. I know the weights. California is one of the bigger ones I send stuff to. It's $4.20. Mysterious number, but that's what it happens to be. It's $4.20 going to some areas in California. Funny as it is, that's the case. So I've been dealing with a lot of this stuff anyway in the past. Somebody else asked on the refunds. Like, if you're going to do a refund, how does that work? It's not as easy. It's not hard at all. You just got to open up refund, and then you go up to another option. It'll open up a little window, and then you'll have options of why you're going to refund them. I only have done refunds for shipping adjustments. That is one of the options. So I don't know. Maybe they track if you do too many, refunds of certain types or something. I don't know. I don't know why they would, but they ask for the option, and mine have been shipping, and then you can put the amount off of like a total sale or off part of the sale. There's 2 options you can put it in. I think I just do it as a total from the entire purchase, and that's how the refund goes in. Once you click that button, it'll send you an email saying it's in the process. Like 10 minutes later, 5 minutes later, you'll get a second email saying it's went through, and that's it. I wish they wouldn't send those junk emails, and I guess people want to see, but you can go back in and just check, and you'll see instantly too. You can instantly just go back and check that transaction as well. So either way, it's not an issue here. I was charged an international fee for domestic package to Delaware. I would just, if you don't have phone support, we have phone support through Anchor Store. If you don't have that, just email eBay for Business. Give them the item number, the destination it went to, and point out on your bill where it says that or where the charge was for international. They should fix that pretty immediately. I've had people tell me, little mix-ups here, little mix-ups there, and they have been readily available to fix. Every company that's instigated some massive thing like this is going to have growing pains with it. A lot of people get mad and say eBay's using outdated this, outdated that, which I would agree, but the only way they can fix that is by doing stuff like this, unfortunately. I know managed payments isn't like the same basic thing, but the point of it is you got to roll out something new to swap that out. When I took, database and the whole works and was doing the servers, when we go like to a location and do stuff with somebody's, a business's software, sometimes they were using stuff that was like 15 years old because it didn't connect to the internet. So they're using servers that are more than outdated. So that's part of the issue when you're doing like database and stuff. If the equipment doesn't touch the outside world in some cases, or it's like a secondary one, they may not mess with updating it. I don't know how eBay is, but I know that a lot of the bigger companies around here, they'll have a mix mash of servers and database, set in there that don't necessarily all match. They're from different ages, different things, different this, different that. And stuff doesn't always go right. When you mess with one, you'll lose connection to another one. That's what I'm almost sure when eBay lost all the photos a year or whatever ago in June. I sold one the other day that had only one photo. It was one of the lost ones because I couldn't even zoom in on the main photo. So I know it was from one of those, but I'm assuming it was a database issue and they broke a link and you can't get all those back if it's reprocessing, anyway. Yeah, Kathy, customer not happy with purchase would be another reason for refund, which eBay probably does track. I would say yes, that would be the case too. I think one of the other options said like adjustment or something like that. I don't see as there's any matrix that says it's going to ding you based on any specific amount in there, but I could see it possibly coming down the line. I got another video coming out on some issues with Amazon that kind of relate to this in a little bit of a way too. Big companies always have issues with stuff like this, it seems like, and they don't know how to address them because it's all new to them too, I guess, at that point. Just like we're doing Shopify or whatever we're doing, it's all new. You're going to make some mistakes, which I've done on Shopify. We've messed this up or had to restart this and that. I'm going to give eBay, even though I'm not a trusting person at all, I'm going to give them the benefit that the mistakes like that are unintentional and they honestly, hopefully have tried to correct them to the best of their knowledge. Again, the managed payments have been here for a year, so it's not like stuff, they haven't tried to fix it. And I know I get comments, they're trying to screw over the small sellers, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that to us. eBay's reputation is on the line now, as we know, with the federal charges. I don't honestly, in any way, shape, or form, think eBay's doing anything to hurt anybody on the platform. Maybe in the past they have. I'm not trying to say they did or didn't. I don't know. I have no idea, nor do I have any way to figure that out. But at this point in their business structure, they can't risk any of that. I think sincerely they're making enough money from the managed payment move that they really want to fix this, and hopefully that is the case. If you didn't see or listen to the video, the live show with Dom on Tuesday, eBay is now number 3. It's Amazon, Shopify. Now we're talking for amount of product, gross product move, basically, how much product filtered through the site itself. It's Amazon, Shopify, and then eBay. Now, Shopify isn't like an Amazon. It's a bunch of little people and some bigger folks all pushed together. So it's not the same structure, but the Shopify itself is who all of it filters through, basically. So that's why it matters, because it's all under the dome of one specific company. All those little sites, including sites that you buy, the folks out there, you guys probably use and don't even realize it's a Shopify, is all under their control. So that's why it matters. I was saddened, I have to say, that eBay let themselves slide a little farther with Shopify. I brought that up like a month or two ago as well, because Amazon literally wasn't even mentioning eBay as competition. Shopify was their number one competition, and Walmart. So, it was weird that right after that, Shopify overtook eBay and proved what Amazon's worry was correct. Good, bad, whatever you think about Amazon, they knew they've been paying attention to their competition, and they know what's coming for them. So, Another figure from this too, which goes into fourth quarter, I don't want to miss on fourth quarter, 57% increase in online platform sales, merchandise sold this year over last. 57% more sold this year over last year for the same time frame. Now, if you equate that out to fourth quarter, you're talking the biggest potential, as long as nothing goes haywire. I'm praying it doesn't. Obviously, no one wants anything to go bad, but it's going to be more than 57% come Christmas. These are just the folks that were buying stuff because they didn't have wanted this, wanted that. They're more shoppers, people with money, people weren't losing their jobs, whatever the case may be. Now, come Christmas, everybody's going to be potentially buying a lot of stuff because, again, we're in a season when people don't buy a ton of extra stuff unless they need it or something, the majority of the population. So when we go to fourth quarter and stuff, I think that's going to boost that level up like immensely. It might be like 90% year over last. And year over last, what matters to me. That means from last year, you did that much more year over last. And that's a corporate America term. Year over last is something you'll see year to date. Year over last is something that I always looked at in every place I've ever been. That's what mattered. Did I make more this year than I did last year? And fourth quarter it's fast approaching. And for me, I'm behind. I've been spending too much time on Shopify. And I wanted to shoot this out there too, because I'm almost to the point where I might just totally put Shopify back off on the shelf. I won't drop the accounts. We'll just roll it out in the fourth because I really want to just jam up fourth quarter. Again, if you're paying any attention to the news on sales online, which I think everybody should. Midwest Sideshow, well, thank you very kindly for the $5 super chat. Forward to Thursday. Can you explain the eBay Council? I received a message to join. Should I consider it? I want to say that's been around for a long time, and they're reviving it, if I'm not mistaken. I got messages for stuff like that. We do the eBay expressions. I'm not going to pop into any of their groups anymore. I've talked to a lot of these people on the phone and video conferences with, like the higher ups at eBay, including like head of all of seller support for America and stuff like that, and people like that. And I think there's some good people in there who've been there for a very long time, but they're all limited to specific departments and all this other stuff. And there's too much PR I see coming from the eBay people that are speaking on YouTube and stuff like that. And I don't like the PR, so it's your call. I wouldn't do it, but that's just me. I've got feelings because, again, we've had issues. We were attacked last year and same time frame. I've got a lot of reasons why I'm not very trusting on eBay. So take what I'm saying about, how I feel about what they're doing now, as I'm not trying to defend eBay, but I do think that they're hopefully working in the right direction because of the federal case. Again, I'm not trying to dog on eBay. I do better if eBay does better, and so does everybody watching this video. If you don't think that eBay is going to do better by making sure there aren't any glitches, you're crazy, because eBay has to have that name recognition stick. Right now, nobody other than maybe us resellers knows what Shopify is. Most people, if they go to a Shopify store, they're going to Mimi's store or Dave's store or Joseph's store or anything like that. It's not a Shopify, so they don't know who Shopify is. So eBay does better if everybody's happy with the site. I have to say, small, big, large, whatever. It doesn't matter to eBay. Think about it as if it's your business. Again, you'll have to pick that on your own, and I do thank you, Midway Sideshow, on that. I personally wouldn't. Again, I'm not going to give them free information. Most companies would have to pay for that. And I know eBay Expressions sometimes, where we do surveys for them, is giving them free information. The only reason I do that, because I get a glimmer of things that they're thinking about. And usually I'm pretty good on judging why they're asking me a question, and I can pretty much guesstimate what's going to happen next. And I've been right like 90 some odd percent of the time, probably. Sometimes nothing comes of some of the surveys they do, but usually a change is in the works when we get a survey like that. And sometimes they'll turn on stuff in my store that I don't even know it's out yet, and there'll be a new thing I can do without anything months before other people have it. I never ask. I don't complain. I get the same thing on YouTube. I can do memberships on YouTube. You're supposed to have 30,000 subscribers. I've had that option for 8,000 subscribers less than I have now, I think, just because I do surveys on YouTube. I didn't know that was even a feature, but that's just what happened. You're going to have to take your shot on what you want to do with that. I don't know if they're due a lot, but I want to say that's been around years ago, and I heard about that or was offered to join that like 8 years ago or something. Maybe it's some new program, but I know they had something like that where they'd conference with people. I've done the video conferences with eBay. I don't really care to mess with and lose my time. I was on for a long one with a whole bunch of people and heads of departments and heads of managed payments promoted listings. The person who was in charge of all the promoted listings I talked to for 1 She couldn't even answer, technical problem or technical things. So it seemed to me she was just a manager. And that's why when you're talking to somebody with a title at eBay, what's their experience? Do they know this? Do they know that? And even if you sell on eBay, it's not the same thing knowing how the system works if you don't work for IT. They'll never let you talk to IT directly that I've been lucky enough to get. They knew I had an IT degree and I was expecting to talk. I don't want to go back off on eBay. I'm done with that experience. But the point of it is, though, that fourth quarter is going to be monstrous. And we constantly have been messing around since eBay gave us those free listings. I'm saving $12,000 a year or more because of that one move eBay did, which made me very happy. It's enough to buy a car, for crying out loud. So, I'm giving them a little benefit of the doubt because that was a big move. That was a lot of money that they gave away, knowing. So they did give and take. So I'm willing to give them a fifth chance or whatever it is, and it doesn't fill my brain with anger towards them if they screw up something these days, because my business just isn't eBay anymore. It's a bunch of stuff now, and it's a bunch of different sites and everything else. So it's one little aggravation, and it's gotten better for the last 3 or 4 months, honestly. I haven't had to contact them constantly because there was always issues before, 3 months ago or so when the last move they did. Everything's going to change. You're just going to have to go with it. I hate to tell you that. If you don't like the rules on the site, there's nothing I can do to change that. And I don't think anything we say is ever going to get them away from managed payments. They've already seen their pocketbooks. They're not going to change it. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Etsy's used them for years. It's not going to happen. And they're not going anywhere with this. It's set in stone. I don't care who runs the company. It's set in stone. Maybe if somebody buys it, different story. But, eBay has to keep the third slot. They can't drop down below 3. They can't do it. It would be detrimental, in my opinion, to the company. So they're not trying to blow off the small sellers. They're just doing one universal policy for everybody. Small, big, large, whatever. You all got to meet the same standards. That's what I see it as. And I think that's more a legal, safe bet, I guess, for them, more than picking and choosing who's what, who gets this, who gets that, and how it's going to work. At least that's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading too much into it or giving them too much credit, but I'm going to give them credit because they lost a whole bunch of staff, and I know they fired a whole bunch of staff. So, there's got to be a bunch of new people in there, good, bad, or indifferent. Maybe they've stepped up. Maybe they're worried. Maybe there's still going to be some more indictments, and I don't think they're ever in this day right now. They're going to try anything bad. I've heard people tell me they're waiving fees. They're doing this. They're at least people there somewhat care the regular people that would be like in our levels and stuff. So give them a break, I guess I should say. And again, I'm no one to defend eBay, but I make a considerable amount of money off of them. Just like people ask the question, I just did a video on other sites. There really are no other sites. That's the point on why eBay is so important to your business if you're selling certain items. Even if I rush to get a store opened up, there's no way on earth I would get more views this quickly in fourth quarter on my own spot, I think, than I would if I was on eBay. I can push stuff on eBay. I can title stuff on eBay. Google Shopping is disappointment, but I mean, there's some things you can do to work on that as well too. You just got to go with what works. And if you don't like the way they're playing the game, you don't play the game with them. Go somewhere else and sell your items somewhere else. Some people have great luck on other sites. Again, it just depends on what you're selling. Some of the other sites have limited amounts of sellers, so you don't have as much competition. Less traffic, of course, but you may have bigger sales than you will in other places because of competition and only because of what you're selling. Certain young, hip items sell very well on certain platforms above and beyond eBay because it's the hip, cool thing for a certain age demographic. And again, I look at demographics. Demographics are a key way to figure out who buys what, where they're buying it from, and things like that. It's important. Same thing like on YouTube. If you want to know, I can track down where people are watching my videos and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the YouTube analyticals is actually pretty good these days compared to what it used to be. But anyway, go with the flow. But the biggest point is you don't have much time for fourth quarter. We've been working on fourth quarter like mad. But again, I'm devoting time to doing Shopify and stuff. And I'm really kind of frustrated with the process that it's and this and that. And anyway, we all make mistakes, and I've made some mistakes with it, and it's cost me a lot of time, and then some issues come up with it and stuff like that. Am I participating in eBay 25? The minute they wanted my photo, I didn't put anything in. But yeah, I did sign up for it, but I didn't do anything Midwest Picker. I don't know, the photo thing. I'm not a big online. This is different. We're just talking. I don't like the big group Zoom pages and all that stuff. I'm not a fan of any of that, in all honesty. If there's more than 3 or 4 people on a video chat, I don't even want to watch it. Just me. There's a show we watch, and I'm not going to talk about the show itself, but the point was that their reunion show, because of the pandemic, was all on Zoom, and there was like 20 Zooms. I'm not into that. It doesn't do anything. I don't know what else eBay 25 can do. We did set up. We had tickets to go to the eBay here in Detroit. And obviously that's all done. I think they refunded it. Yeah, they refunded the money, and they sent me the gift card in the mail and stuff. So I'm not out anything, but I was going to give them the break and go to one of them, which I said I wouldn't. We went to one of the used to be called something else like 15 years ago, and I can't remember what it used to be called. It doesn't matter. eBay they've had a program where they meet and greets here and there and stuff. I wanted to, I guess, just go just because it was local. I would never spend money to fly to one, in all honesty. I don't know. I'm probably won't do the eBay 25 thing just because of the way it's set up, I guess. I don't like that kind of stuff, honestly. I know I probably missed some names and stuff. I'm not trying to bounce around here. I'm looking at 2 different screens. Well, thank you, Sandra. I don't know where we're at in the thing. I didn't want to miss anybody here. Let me pop up here. I was just playing with exporting my Shopify to Etsy. Finally, it worked really well. Yeah, I was thinking about using that too. Now, with Shopify, you don't have to open up your Shopify store technically, but you can still use all the links, so I can still push out my items from my Etsy to Shopify, and then I can map them and have them all connected if I wish, without having a personal Shopify store even open. But I still own and have the option to do that at any time. And that's the option we're using right now. I've been testing some things just for pushing them out into other places that have already visibility, like Instagram, the marketplace, and Facebook Marketplace, basically. So, and I do have the buy button on Shopify. So anyway, let's pop and look to some questions. I'm on eBay, Etsy, and have a Shopify store. Etsy in my store, pay my taxes, and eBay is my bread and butter. There's Carl giving you a good explanation. Thank you, Carl, too, for those screenshots. I did call that out the other day, too. I got a bunch of screenshots on some of the glitches and stuff. I've been trying to decide on how to put a video together, because it would be a long video because I've got so many screenshots, but they're all relevant to the situations going on. The post office wise, I see some folks with the post offices here. If you hang on just a second. Post office wise, I haven't had any more postal issues since it all went in Congress and all that stuff. I haven't had any lately at all, and that's kind of peculiar because we were having a bunch of them, but it looks like they've caught up. And I've been asking the local carriers and stuff like that, and they haven't had any mass show up. So I think they're getting better at it. Biggest roadblock for Shopify? If you've got a lot of items and you want to upload them into a Shopify, that's where the problem comes in, especially if they need specific information transferred in. Like I do a lot of records and stuff that have a grading section. InkFrog, which is where most of them would be imported through me, doesn't pick up those boxes. So I lose all that information if I import my items into Shopify. The other way and this is the biggest issue with Shopify in my book, if you have a big store already, it's hard to get it all in there correctly. So I paid a service like $120 or something to have them imported, and it took an entire day. It took a whole day, and they didn't finish. And since it was only for a day's service, I lost like 1,800 listings or something like that. They didn't tell me. They guaranteed me it would be done, and I had to have all my listings. So anyway, and they never gave me my money back. It was a big argument. I got into it with Shopify anyway. But I imported them that way because that's the way I was told to do it. I contacted I followed all their instructions and stuff. They said that would be the best option to get all that material. Well, nobody told me when I first got to that point that then I would have to map every one of those listings that I imported into Shopify with my InkFrog to hook it up to eBay. Again, I wanted that middle ground. Why am I doing InkFrog in the middle? Through Shopify's API with eBay, through the eBay channel on Shopify, you cannot do best offers. And most of my business is best offers, so I can't do that option. I don't even want to look at it because I can't do that key option. There's some other features it doesn't have. It's not a full feature API for eBay's channel on Shopify, which is the aggravating part. Why, how, where, I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me, but I use InkFrog because of that, and I can do InkFrog on its own and just link eBay and Amazon with InkFrog if that's all I wanted to do as well. So, you don't have to even go to a Shopify, really, if you don't want, but you just want to be on eBay and Amazon. InkFrog does it. It's in there. But we're just ended up going another route and just importing them anyway and just losing that data. And if somebody has a question, I'll just have to deal with it then. Or go back in and pay somebody to do it. Because the mapping process, the mapping process, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, if you've got listings on eBay and you got them in a Shopify, you can't just link them together like with InkFrog. You've got to map them. InkFrog's got like an auto map, but it only auto mapped out of 27,000 listings. It only auto mapped 13,868 listings. So those other 10,000 plus listings that had to be done manually, and it was just not feasible to spend that amount of time on it. And we already had to map Amazon listings and stuff, and you still have to map them when you CSV file an Amazon thing in to list new items and quantity. And there's a lot to it. Knowing how much is involved is a big key hump in Shopify. There's people out there who pick it up instantly, and it's no big deal. And it's not a big deal if you got few listings. It would have been much easier, way more easier. I wouldn't have had any of these issues. I could have just done them, listed them, and had them instantly listed and crossed. The second I had them, I would have pumped them out from InkFrog. I would have just put, instead of a condition box, I would have put it down below in the description box, and then I would have been done. But I used eBay's condition boxes, the item specific boxes. Those don't translate on a lot of these APIs, and with eBay changing all those APIs, that's the other issue that comes in. Some of the APIs may not update to eBay's new changes in the item specifics and category changes they're doing, because an API has to be manually edited to match up. That's the problem, like when you're switching over from listings that you have up on, say, Etsy to Shopify, or Etsy and eBay and all that. The boxes aren't the same. The textual boxes are in different spots. One page may have 20 of them, and you're going to a new site that only has 10 of them. When you download those, you can think of those as like boxes in an Excel spreadsheet. Each one has its spot. So you might have 20 columns on one spreadsheet if you're exporting them, but it's going to a site that only has 9 columns or something. That's the difference, and that's the problem I've had with almost everything dealing with my listings from InkFrog and a Shopify, because of the varying different accounts, and I'm used a lot of the items or the item specifics for records and stuff like that, which don't exist in a Shopify. There's not many people on Shopify that have record stores that I have seen or had the time to dig into. So I wish there was more information, and I've watched all their videos. I spent hours digging into it before we even signed up for it, and I talked to people, and I'm not saying it's not a good site. It's the best one so far I've had, because I've gotten to a point where I could sell some items in my store now. It just isn't complete, and it's aggravating. So anyway, I like to get stuff done and be done with it. Let me slide down here. Let's get to some questions. Let me hang on. There goes my feed. Well, we've covered glitches, as we said. There's a ton of them. I'll reiterate that one more time. We only have one shipping option for every single listing. From the most part, the folks that are having them, again, if a buyer buys something and they pick first class, there's a lot of people that are having eBay on the shipping page, your bulk shipping page, show it as priority mail. And you could miss that, and you're going to end up spending a lot of money. You'll have to go a refund, and it's a long, drawn-out process to get your money back out of those. So everybody who I've heard that's had that happen, again, it may be not for some people, has had multiple options for shipping selected on the listing that's sold, so therefore it has the option to put those in there. The folks that I've talked to, when they've gotten rid of the extra shipping options and just put one on there, they haven't had that issue. Again, I don't know if that's the case for everybody. I can't tell you. I can just tell you I haven't had that happen once, other than the shipping weight from me combining items to the same purchaser on the final form, the final bulk purchase sheet, when you're going and putting the total values for your total weights on there. Do I ever get burnout? No, I don't. I worked for a lot of people that were just terrible places to work for. This is like night and day. I worked at Eckerd's before. Place was on Lee Road in Orlando. You can look up where that's at. It was the only 24-hour one in the city, mind you. Wasn't in the best neighborhood. The store, in the short time I worked there, was robbed 7 times. One of the times, the girl who was one of my favorite cashiers was pistol whipped in the store. I switched with somebody. I was supposed to have been there that night too, so that's my last night there, I'll tell you too. But those are the kind of jobs that I can't believe I had to do when I realized what I'm doing now. So I don't. My brain is like locked on the vision that I got and where I'm going with this. That's all I think about from morning till night, unless we're on family time or something. That's just me. I don't stop. I'm like a mile a minute. My grandmother walked, at 98, she could outrun like half the people that I knew. I mean, and she was like that, but she was kind of like probably OCD as well too, I guess. But I don't get burned out on stuff. I'm motivated. I'm really motivated, I have to say. I don't think I've ever been so motivated in my entire life than I am right now because of all the stuff that's happened from just reselling. I'm thankful every day. I honestly and sincerely am. I ponder when I'm out in the car driving around, how I got here. And I know this to somebody who's like really rich and got millions in the bank, I'm a joke and this is nothing to them. But to me, being someone who could barely afford food from week to week, made sure the kids eat, and then me and the wife did whatever we had to, or lived on what we had, to this it's a huge, huge difference. I'm just surprised. I still have that feeling once in a blue moon that, I'm going to be late for work, and I had awful hours. Sometimes I had to be in at 2 o'clock when a truck came in, and then your 3-4 hours of you personally as the general manager even of a store unloading a third of a truck of a semi by hand with dollies to wheel it into a building and stack it and rotate it and all. That's the kind of stuff I've done. I did everything else as a general manager that everybody else in the store did. And you had to do it as a manager to check in merchandise. You've got 40 grand worth of merchandise coming. You darn well got to check every box to make sure you're not missing a box of steak. That one box of steak could be worth $1,000 in the restaurant field. Or if you're in merchandise, you might have a box of jewelry that's worth like 10 grand sitting there. You got to check in. It's a big, long process. Everything that I've done working for everybody else was horrid. Even the best jobs was horrid compared to what I do now. I don't know what other motivation, I could get that would top this. We've branched off from just doing eBay. This all started with eBay. We're doing toys, and I've got, obviously videos and stuff, but I've got contacts galore these days for pretty much everything, and I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for my wife. Without the family, I wouldn't be in these same places. I know it's tough for folks if it's a one-person thing. I did the first year or better myself, so I completely understand. And we've done without. The wife never worked after we had kids, so she could be with the kids, and we lived without, so that the family. My family's really tight. People think we're weird because we're so tight. But, we did without, so she could be here and raise the kids. And, we were in D.C. and when we first had kids, so I didn't want her working in that area, and it was just a nightmare. 9/11 happened while I was there, the sniper shootings and all that stuff. So from all of that stuff, the hurricane that took out our house, all the crap that I've dealt with, this is like... I have nothing to worry about. We used to have bad neighbors. We've got a big play. I mean, everything has totally turned around in like the last 3 or 4 years. Well, more than that, but last 3 or 4 years, motivation. That's all the motivation I need is my family. I don't know what else I don't get burnout because this is what I love. I really like reselling. I know people just there's a lot of people out there, and I mean a lot of people, and I'm not saying the folks watching this, but there's a lot who are only worried about the money aspect of it. And I hand to God, the freedom and the family is so much more important, because I lost 20 years of time with my family. I didn't get to see my kids' first steps. I didn't get to see their first words or hear their first words, and I missed everything, just because I work for somebody else. So, it's too late to get that back. It's night and day. I can't express that enough. And anybody who says that I'm out for the money, you don't know me. You have no right to say that. I don't care. If I wanted to make more money right this second, thousands of dollars more a month, I sure as heck could right this very second. I'm not a marketer. I don't want to do that. I don't want a sponsorship. I don't want any other junk that goes with that. I don't want to be beholden on somebody specific. It's not me. I don't care. I don't care about that much about money that way. I guess 80s hippie communal type. I don't care about all the other junk. It doesn't affect me. I want my business to do well. I want to make decent money, but I don't want 20 houses. I don't care about a yacht. I don't care about a mansion. I don't want a Lamborghini. I don't want a Ferrari. I don't care about any of that. A car doesn't do anything for me anymore these days. We drove whatever we had. I had a 1978 Buick that was a rust bucket. I made sure mechanically that thing was sound, and we could eat people going down the road with nicer cars that would just laugh when they pulled up to the line. But I ate them because it was mechanically sound, and I took care of the car. I didn't give a hoot what the outside body looked like. But just sometimes I don't care. Nice car's nice, and fine. We've got cars and stuff, but it doesn't do anything for me inside or anywhere else. It's just a hunk of metal to me. I know people love cars, and I like looking at them. My father was in hot rod clubs, Cam's Hot Rod Club here in local Toledo area. I don't care. I love looking at them, but it doesn't do anything for me to have one, I guess, these days anymore. Maybe if I was like Owen Jay Leno's collection or something, maybe, but he's a historical person. He knows everything about those cars. So it couldn't, I know he's rich and all that stuff, but it couldn't happen to somebody who wouldn't have been into him. The guy's into him at least. So I don't care. I love looking at him. We go to all the museums and all that stuff. That's history. I love it, but I don't care if I own it. I don't care to be rich. The family, man. I just wished I wouldn't have missed all of that time working for all these people. I used to work 80 hours a week, just mandatory for people. If somebody didn't show up or I had to fire a general manager or manager, I could be in that store for 2 or 3 weeks. I could be flying back and forth, filling in for 3 months, because that's what it takes to train a manager in every retail establishment, every restaurant chain in this country. It's like 3 months of training. They might have shortened it at some point, but it was always 3 months. Always. One of the companies I worked for, I was able to pick it up really quickly, and I was a regional for those guys, so that was a different story. But as a general rule, it's like 3 months, and you're screwed. My life, I never knew what I was going or coming, because it was all around work. Yeah, it's all around eBay now, but I like it. I love the stuff I sell. People see you only sell antiques and stuff. I don't just sell antiques, but I show more of those because I love that stuff. I'm a museum junkie. We had season passes to Mount Vernon and Smithsonian, and wherever we've lived, we've had season passes. The Toledo Art Museum, even the Toledo Symphony Orchestra. I don't mind stuff like that. I like stuff like that. Oh, well, I don't want to go off in too much tangents, but let me slide down here. But your niche on eBay is also a big part of it, right? I got so many niches. It's not, I can go shop anywhere basically, vintage wise. New stuff I mess with too, wholesale, whatever. I don't care what it is. I'll sell anything if there's a decent buck to be made in it. Especially if it's stuff that I don't have to ship, I don't have to warehouse, stuff like that. FBA is an excellent program. I have to say, for selling certain items, that's like the best game in town, I guess you could call it. Best game on the internet is FBA for many people. There's a reason for that, I know competition and Chinese and the vendors and all that stuff. Again, I got a video coming out on that because there's some stuff going on. There's a case. There's some issues with it. There's somebody I know hit me up and pointed some things out, and he's had some issues on Amazon where somebody stole his listing, and we'll go into that detail, but there are issues with every site out there. If eBay's biggest issue is you have to hold your money for a little while, I can deal with it. Even if my money was held, I'm fine. I'm beyond having to worry about that. My business doesn't float over, me getting a payment 2 days earlier or whatever. I don't care. You got to have some sort of revenue or funds in general to do this in my book. Any site that's telling you how to make money on eBay, I know there's videos even on here, without having product or spending any money. I don't know how you could do that legally or have a honest business, but I got 162 people on. If you enjoying the conversation, please hit that like button. I do like to get up to the 100 mark at least before the show. And I know we've kind of had some issues sound. It looks like it's OBS because everything's perfect now, and I don't see any issues on my end, but where are we at? Diggeth us wants a Lamborghini. Where I worked, I've seen people come in with Lamborghinis, and I've seen all that stuff. It's a neat car, but, what am I really going to do with it? I can't drive like on the Autobahn. There's no Autobahn around here. I was a speed junkie at one time, and we'd go down the not like highway speed. We used to floor it, and I've been in a car at 140, 146, somewhere in that range. Very scary on a Camaro. It was in a Camaro, believe it or not. The windshields, it was scary. Even the windshield wipers were rattling and stuff, but that's probably like the most hairy situation in a car. I did the Kyle Petty thing at Disney, or the Richard Petty thing at Disney once. They gave employees at a certain department, we got to do the loop there, where they go, I don't remember the speed, but it was pretty fast. I've been to Daytona 500 too. We used to go to see that too, but anyway. There's nothing wrong with a town and country. We've had a town and country as well, too. In fact, we've got one in the garage sitting there. You love the historical items. So many people are interested in that. That's why I love eBay. They have done to preserve history. Yes, that is correct. For a person selling vintage on YouTube, though, it doesn't do great for my channel, I would say. Everybody wants the quick, the easy item to find, and I like the thrill of the hunt, so I'd rather have something a little harder that I got to dig for personally. I like going to a sale that I just got to dig. I'd rather have gloves on and a flashlight than anything else. When I first started going into flea markets and stuff, it was Webster, Florida. They have or used to have, I don't know if they still do, they used to have a flea market on Monday mornings, and you'd had to be there at like 4 in the morning with a flashlight to get the best deals. So I'm those early morning risers. I always had to go to work real early, so that's what I've always liked. I've always done that, but why are people selling the adult items now? There's still a bunch on eBay. Just look on eBay because they didn't switch over the big main adult item sellers. You're going to run into issues with selling a lot of them. There are some of the magazines that can be sold on Amazon still, believe it or not. And I've got enough proof where I'm comfortable enough to do it as well, thanks to a couple folks in my Patreon group and some information from a very large Amazon seller that sells a lot of that stuff. So I'm going to try. I don't sell the really dirty magazine. I'm more a pinups person. I like the 60s and down, the more mellower magazines. They're historical. I don't mind it. I took life drawing class, and there's a nude model in there. And I remember when Valencia, this is in Florida, Valencia Community College, they had an issue. The teacher was going to be arrested over in my class, my teacher, and she was a great artist. I really liked her. I want to say Zamba or Ramba was her name or something. She used to display at the courthouse down there. Very, very nice. She invited me to some of her events even because I was very interested in her stuff. But, that was then an issue. And it didn't bother me because to me, it's art, male or female. Because we had both male and female nude models. But you can't you can't get the skill to do something without seeing the form, I guess. And to me, it's not a sexual thing. It's an art. I was into the drawing aspect of it. We were doing gesture drawings, 60 seconds, 60 seconds, 60 seconds, and then sustained poses, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 20, and then 30 minutes. I mean, we did it all, and it was interesting. And I don't have a hang up on stuff like that, honestly. Again, I'm an artist. I used to get some of the magazines and I'd draw the images in them for artistic wise. Maitland Art Center in Florida owns one of my nudes. Actually, they bought it from UCF when I was attending UCF there, and they bought it, and it's in their collection there, as well as a couple other pieces in another museum, and that's a museum. So I mean, the nudes, I don't have a problem with that. And I know a lot of people, I got a lot of flack when I said that we sell it, but I'm a morally good person. I take care of my family. I do everything I'm supposed to do. I follow the laws. I don't even run a red light. I stop like nobody else does, apparently, because I get people honking like I should go through it. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with the human form in the aspect, depending on what it is. Some of the newer magazines and stuff, I can get it, but they should be allowed to be sold. I don't have any problem with whatever. As long as it's legal, who cares? Who cares what somebody else is looking at? I don't care. I don't care what somebody else does. I watch my own stuff and take care of my own. But CDL Picker, I love selling everything, especially pins, patches, and trains. I love selling everything as well. There's a few, like clothing, though, I don't mess with. I don't mess with it. I like sometimes like newer items or things I haven't seen before, because I'm interested to see what they do and figure out the inside info on certain things. You can't just start selling an item and instantly know exactly what you're going to do or how the whole category works. I don't. If you want to say I've got a niche, I've got a whole bunch of niches. Anything in historical that's made out of paper or plastic, I pretty much mess with, or metal, anything pretty much. Military, I do like military, swords, all that kind of stuff I like. Buttons, as you know, I got tens of thousands of buttons. I've got a lot of records. My records dwarf everything else, I would say. But you have to have a broad range of stuff, in my opinion. And there's nothing wrong with not having just one niche. You could have a bunch of niches. You could just sell a whole bunch of different items. But the key to doing that is to be able to get a whole bunch of them and not buy them one-offs. You don't want to be driving around getting one item here and one item there, or hoping to get one item here, one item there. The biggest secret, you want to know how to get the most items, you got to be able to work out where you can get bulk. That's how every big business gets it. They buy it in bulk. That's what you've got to look into, figuring out how to get bulk in whatever area you want to sell in. That's the biggest bottleneck most people have, is finding the items, finding merchandise, continually finding it. I never find 100 or 200 of the exact same items if I'm not looking for them. If you're not digging for them, you're not going to find them. It's just not out there. You can't do it. It's not just, somebody's not just going to walk up to you and give you the option to find these items. You're going to have to dig for them. And everything that we sell, I have through the years figured out a sourcing avenue for it. Otherwise, I don't like to mess. Of course, I'll buy one-offs if they're really good and I'm already there and I'm getting other stuff, but I don't go out for the one-offs anymore at all. I haven't been to a garage sale this entire year. Been to two estate sales this year, and only because they were local. Maybe 3, but that's it. You know, I don't go to thrift stores hardly ever. I mean, maybe once this year, and I don't think we sourced when we went. I think we were just looking for costume material or something, if I'm not mistaken. It's been so long. I'm just looking at the feed, see if I missed any. Teresa, I noticed people sell vintage postcards for $1 and like 65 cents shipping. I assume they are shipping with a stamp, but I thought you had to always provide tracking to eBay. You don't have to provide tracking to eBay for everything, but you're not going to get top-rated seller status. I think what's it say, above average or something is the best you can get, and you don't get the discount. I know people say it's 1%, but at the end of the year, it's thousands of dollars when you're selling a lot of money. So I'm not going to give away $1,000 just by not doing it. I have tracking on every single item that goes out. If it doesn't show up, you just got to give them their money back. If you're not tracking every item that doesn't show up, you have to 100% give them their money back, every dime, including the shipping. I'm not doing any dollar postcards or stuff like that because you're not going to make any money. you got time involved. I mean, my time's worth more than doing that, and you got to wrap it. And if you're doing the mailing them out in an envelope, they could get damaged, the higher rate of damaging. I just don't do those. I don't sell anything under $7.99, and I try not to do anything under $9.99 or higher to begin with. But if I get a huge stack of stuff that's going to sell quickly and easy, it's like a one-sided piece of paper, two sides, and I can just dump them in a scanner 20, 30 at a time and let the scanner do it. I don't care. I'll buy them because an employee can list a bunch of those, and I'll on average come out way ahead anyway. I'll quadruple my money investment in them usually. So, I mean, that's my take on it. How did I get ungated, Angela, on collectibles on Amazon? It took me a month straight of emailing them every single day pretty much and bugging them. That's all I can tell you. I have only had one other person, and it's a Patreon, and I did do some help. I looked at their forms and basically gave them a copy of mine, and they were able to get ungated in, I think it was vintage entertainment or something, but they only got that one category. I bugged the heck out of them, and I was sincere. I wasn't mean. I wasn't rude. I said, what do you want? I'm doing everything. I literally went off, and not went off, but I wrote off like paragraphs of stuff every time and explained every step and everything. And eventually, after 31 days, I think maybe it was, I finally got ungated. And then they only ungated me in part of it. And I go, what about this? What about this? And the same person was the one who responded. Thank God. I guess maybe that helped. And then the next day, the notice said you are now able to, or the little, what's it called, your case thing where you can go back and check them. And then I got ungated. That's all I can tell you. That was 4 years ago now, I think. The category's been there for a while. When they first started those categories, everybody thought they're going after eBay, but they don't even promote them still to this day. Just like Homemade by Amazon. We got a Homemade by Amazon page, but, they don't promote it much anymore, at least that I've seen. They're just still going after the big dollar stuff. Yeah, Carl, tracking on everything, too. I do have pickers, Sandra. Yes, I do. Not so much anymore right this minute. Just because there's nothing to go pick to. There's hardly any sales coming around. I can go to the auctions just as easily as they can if I really want something, I guess. Webster's is not what it used to be, Gail. Yeah, back in the day when we were doing eBay, nobody else was doing eBay when we first started. Everybody used to make fun of us. And if I went out to Webster's, man, I picked up a stack of Golden Age comic books. Not a stack, I should say, like 500 of them for $2 a piece. And they were weird science, weird fantasy. I mean, they were just killer sci-fi titles. Captain Midnight. I mean, just over the board, just stuff you just never see for two. And the guy didn't separate them. There was early Superman issues in like the teens, and just probably the best comic book haul I've had at that point. And next day or next time it was Micronauts, like a bag of Micronauts, like $5,000 worth of Micronauts, and Mega Man all mixed in there, or Micro Man all mixed in there. All Takari stuff. It was just an awesome... every time I've been to Webster's early with a flashlight, back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, man, I scored every time I was out there. I can't remember a time. I used to be a vendor. I used to set up out there. We'd set up out in the field. I didn't do the underneath the covers in the buildings. Those were usually the same people, and if you wanted better sales, they wanted the people that were only there, setting up and stuff. So I used to set up with two other people. I'd do one week and one another week on some cases, but I don't mess with dollar postcards. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong if you don't care for the really, really XX stuff. But people should be allowed to sell it if it's not illegal. If they can't sell it or you don't want them to sell it, make it illegal and be done with it. But, I don't have any problems with selling stuff like that. To each his own. Everybody should have a right to like what they like if they're not hurting anybody. That's what I feel, Couple Florida folks here, Sandra as well. Book Retro Barn Australia, how are you doing? Hey, Aaron, too. I'm sorry I didn't call everybody out today. It's been one of those weird days. What do you collect from your picks? Steve 100WL, what do I collect from my picks? Are you meaning what do I personally keep? I don't keep much other than some military stuff these days, if that's what you're referring to. Yeah, when you meant niche, I figured you mean in vintage and antiques. But we don't, that's not all. I mean, I sell anything. I'll sell brand news. NOS is great to me. I love the NOS that you get at auctions, especially if it's still boxed merchandise, like a warehouse sale or something. Around here, occasionally, there's companies that'll have, like, in fact, I know some of the companies, the guys that run it, but they'll sell out, like, a whole school. A school, the best auction I've ever been to, or the one I did the best at, and we made, oh my God, like $20,000 or $30,000 off of just $20 investment. I went to a book depository sale in Detroit. It not only a book depository, it was the school system of Detroit had a sale, and I bought dust jackets. When the schools get the big books, the children's books, any book really, they usually remove the standard dust jacket, and they'll have like either put a sleeve over it, or in the kids department, they usually don't put the dust jackets out at all. So I got a massive collection from one of these auctions and I knew they were going to be paper there because I've been to a few of these before. This is an insider. I'll give you a secret here. This is one that I've been to anytime I see when I go to it. Schools, anytime a school goes, I always go to every single school one just for the fact of paper. And nobody else thinks that, but they get rid of those. They don't put out those. So I ended up getting like the Little Engine That Could, and some of the book dust jackets, just the dust jackets we sold for around $1,000. I mean, I still have some in my store. We've still got a couple hundred probably. I still got a box somewhere of probably around 200-300 I never even listed because we just made so much money. I boxed them and got bored and decided I wanted to list something else at that point. So somewhere in here there's probably a couple more boxes. Hang on. Trying to pop down a little bit here. If it jumps I won't know where I'm at, but yeah, Carl, same thing, doesn't mess with it. I lot them up too. I sell lots of 1,000 postcards for $125. 1,000 postcards, $125, and those are ones that I've searched through very extensively. And if there's still cards and they're worth $5, but I just don't mess with them. I'd rather just blow them out like that and be done with them. I've got probably 4,000 or 5,000 I'll be putting up shortly. But again, they're cheapo cards. I don't mess with anything under $7.99 if it's not going to be quick. That's just the way I do it. Yeah, collectibles of anything, though, is great, too. I'm a top-rated seller, so I wouldn't do that either. Teresa, yep. Hang on, let me slap down here. Yeah, lotting postcards up, that's what I do. Charles, yeah, I've got, time-wise, that's my problem here right now. The time I would have been spending, usually I would be doing other videos too, I've been spending with Shopify and stuff, and we're trying to move out like 4,000 records right now and stuff. And for those in Patreon too, but I don't want to forget, there's 2 new videos as of today. It's like an hour of content just up for today. There'll be another one, I'm not going to call it a name, but you had posted a photo. I don't want to call it names because I didn't ask, but there's going to be another video on that one still this weekend. Next week, I will probably have a live show on Patreon, too. I'm not sure which video will be up here on YouTube tomorrow. I have 2 ready, the Amazon one and another one, so I'm not sure which one I will pop up. If you are enjoying the conversation, I got over 180 people in house and 75 likes. If you are enjoying it, please hit the thumbs up. Show some love for the channel. Do you do any free shipping? I can't remember. No, John, no free shipping. Never do free shipping. When I did clothing, I did it because you kind of had to, but again, that's why I'm not in that. Do you have great home insurance in case of... I have a business owner's policy that covers everything, and we do have home insurance, but the BOP covers just business, anything here. Plus, we have a building, which we have for storage, too, so it's a package deal, and the business owner's policy covers a bunch of other stuff. Fire theft, natural disaster, covers shelving, inventory. All my inventory is covered at cost. Every piece of merchandise, every light, every computer, every laptop, every box, every bin, all that stuff's covered. My chairs, my tables, If I bought a sheet of plywood to remod something, that's covered. Everything is covered under the BOP. It also covers liability and all that kind of stuff too. So I would always recommend a business owner's policy at the very least if this is your only source of income. You know, it's a given. You have to do it. Postcards are fun to sell, don't get me wrong. Santiago, video on geodes. Geodes are really cool. I've got a couple sitting right here. I love stones, and I took geology in college. I love that sort of thing. And part of the reason I took geology as opposed to, I took biology before, but I took geology the last round. I wanted to know what the stones were and stuff, and it was part of the credits. I got 5 credit hours for that in the lab, you know, so it was really interesting. And I can distinguish, you know, types of rocks and stuff beyond that. And anyway, long story short, I love that sort of thing too. So postcards, though, are an incredible source of revenue if you get the right ones, of course. Did I miss something there? Sorry if I missed calling anybody out. I didn't do that intentionally. I'm looking at like 2 different feeds here, so I just saw a question I wanted to answer, but I can't find where it went to. We'll just touch one more. I think we got glitches covered, so if you missed the glitches or any of that, that was the beginning of this video. I will probably delete the other live show that was up. I will probably delete it again, because or maybe I'll just put a post. I don't know. I might delete it, so don't be offended if it's gone. I don't want to be confusing. This one goes right into topic, and I covered it all again. And you got to hear my UFO story and Bob Lazar story, too. So if you have any interest in UFO or Bob Lazar, go back and watch the beginning of the video. But life is interesting and throws a lot of different stuff your way. And it's a small world, too, believe it or not. I sold to somebody with my same name the other day, which was really weird. I thought it was a glitch on eBay's part, and I had to verify that it really was his name. And sure enough, it's not related to me either, which is really weird because my name's kind of an odd name, but had my name, which was really weird. Full name, the whole name, including my middle initial. I didn't ask what his middle name was, but who knows? Kind of interesting. So it is a small world. I dropped off eBay sold items at Cleveland, Ohio Airport Post Office around 3 p.m. the other day, and they did not scan them until the next day around 5 p.m. Caused my items to be late shipped. Yeah, that could be an issue if that's the case. I always use a scan sheet, no matter where I'm scanning or printing from for my labels. With the scan sheet, the minute they scan it in, it acknowledges them. Now, they still have to be manually done sometime, at least at the, let's say, the delivered scan. So as long as they mark delivered, you're clear because it'll show all the scans from the initial point. But I have a master scan sheet, and they scan it at the door. Even if they pick it up at the other building, they always scan it. Both of the postal people in both areas scan them instantly, and I never have an issue. And if I print other things, usually there's a couple scan sheets, or I'll have some stuff going one way and something else going UPS. Any heavy packages, I always use another service, UPS or something. I sell stuff these days off of other platforms, obviously, and quite a bit of stuff, so I don't always use the post office. You know, anything big. Anybody who's bought stuff, big stuff from me knows they're big, huge boxes. I use sometimes the Home Depot boxes for the FBA boxes work good for some stuff, but you can't ship any of that stuff post office. They have limits and size limits and stuff, and anyway. Yeah, master scan sheet, though, is what I always would recommend for anybody out there. Let me slide down just a little bit more here. I think we'll probably let it go at that here. Again, it's always annoying when something doesn't go right. My phone's going off like mad. There it goes again. Well, I just picked it up. Well, we'll have to get that in a minute here. Sorry. We'll get to that. I'm sorry. I got quite a few messages on there just from this evening. But go back and watch the rest of the video, the beginning of the video, if you missed the conversation on that. Manage payments Once you get the first payment, it's going to be routine, the exact amount of time. So if you get one on one day of the week, it's always going to be at that same time, pretty much going forward religiously. Glitches wise, growing pains, I know they're frustrating, but I check every single one of my mailings, every single one. So if I'm printing on my bulk printing, I'm going through each one, comparing the price. I'll compare the weights and the whole works. And you pretty much know what you're shipping. I know it's a card, so if it's over a certain amount, I know there's something wrong right off the bat. And I always look at the weights before I ship anything, and I always check all that stuff out pretty much religiously. As I said, they got me on one that I had to deal with once quite a while ago, but that's the only problem. The only other thing, as I said, with them pushing the other shipping options, I only use one, so I don't see any of that. Maybe some people are only using one and they're still seeing it. I don't know. I haven't seen that at all. Not one. And those complaining about the new shipping form, I don't know what everybody else is using. I've seen scans and screenshots from several folks. I'm using the same one as those folks, and they say that's the new one. I don't know. Maybe we got the new one ahead of time because of the volume of our store. I don't know. I just know the changes in what I see in the printing screen. I don't see much difference at all. There's nothing, complicated or anything else. You actually have more options in there. When UPS comes in there, I can guarantee you when it's full-fledged integrated, if it isn't already, it will pop in and there will be some changes once more again. I try to put as few options on any of those pages as I can. Again, I use business policies. Each listing only has one way they can ship that item, only one way. Again, I'll accommodate anybody they want. I ship things prior to mail when somebody asks. Anytime, if they say, is there any way to get it quicker? Of course, I'll ship it however they want. I don't care, but I don't give the option. It's my store. I have one set option. It's easier. I don't have to worry about it. I memorize pretty much every price you can imagine, even state-wise and stuff, because it's usually, you can pretty much tell. California is like the easiest one because like 1/3 of some of my items go to California. It's just it's a given on that. So manage payments and the shipping issues. There probably will be more issues, more glitches with shipping would be my guess as they integrate more into it. Obviously, to get the technology to do this, they had to update their systems. I don't see any way an app running on an old system would be able to handle all that. So my guess is they've swapped over hardware, the servers and the units themselves would be my guess. So, you can't complain about them not fixing it and having glitches while they're fixing it. It's just not a fair analogy. It's not going to do you any good complaining about it, unfortunately. I'm not happy about everything eBay does at all. I can tell you for sure without a doubt. But, I have feelings about some of the stuff they've done that were really bad in the past. But I get too much money from them. There is no competitor to it. There is no equivalent to eBay. There just isn't. Even Amazon with the vintage, you're not going to do anywhere near what you would on eBay. I can tell you right now from experience. But you're going to make some decent money with volume. Volume is 100% the only way you're going to do that game on Amazon. I'll tell you right now. There's people that have 100,000 niches and vintage items, 100,000 items on Amazon right now. There's quite a few people. I've personally talked to one, and that's why I said I've been digging into this to try and get a feel for marketability on sites. Everybody constantly says this site and that site. Again, it all comes down to site traffic and bounce rate. Bounce rate is key. Bounce rate, I'll shoot it out again if you didn't see the other video. Bounce rate is basically how quickly they bounce off the page. If they're there for just a matter of moments and only look at one page or 2 pages at the most, they're not finding what they want, and they're bouncing off the page. If they stay for a long time and look at a bunch of pages, that's a real good bounce rate. That's great for your site. And eBay is the only one that doesn't have those terrible bounce rates. eBay is the only one that what I sell the most of that has enough site traffic, tens of millions. I mean, it's a joke if you compare most other sites to it. Etsy's one of the closer ones, and they're still way down from eBay. They've gained some ground on them. And again, I'm not going to throw Shopify into that list because Shopify is more a conglomeration of a bunch of different sites kind of thing. But we'll probably end it at that. I do appreciate everybody coming on. I'm sorry about the glitches. As I said, I may just delete that morning one or the first one No sense in having it up if it goes to nothing. This does have most of the contact. If I missed you or I didn't call you out, I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. It always throws me off my game when something like that happens. And as I said, if you were on for the first part and I had to come back on, OBS totally crashed on me. It went dead, and I had to restart my whole system because it wouldn't even open back up after that. I had to restart my laptop. Thank goodness it was my Optima laptop, because it restarts, reboots in like 3 seconds. It's like the fastest thing I've ever seen for a reboot on a laptop. But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming on. I really appreciate the support. Appreciate the support of my family, just as much too, and the wife and everything else. It's a hard life. It's a hard job if you're not into it. Being into what you do is key, in my opinion. Mike Rowe has something out there, the Dirty Jobs guy, where he says passion is for suckers. I'm sorry, I like being passionate about something. For me, unless you only care about money, and passion doesn't do it for you. I don't know. I like what I do, and I like being able to do what I do. So I do like having the passion for what I do and enjoying it. I can't say I've ever been this happy with job, money, work, family as I am right now. And it's all because of this. So, anyway, I'll let you go. I appreciate everybody coming on, and have a good evening there.